Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a real pleasure to be here. My name is Chris Elam, and I am the choreographer and the founding artistic director of Misnomer Dance Theater. We are a 6-person dance company based here in New York City. And what I'd like to talk to you today is about how we can re-envision what our connection is to the arts. If today was a typical night in the theater, right now you would be going home. And hopefully this performance would linger with you in your mind, and eventually it would dissipate. And you most likely would not have a chance to see us for another long time. Because the reality of how the live arts work is that most dance and theater companies are only in any given city once in a year. So you have this very intense experience, and then there's not a real way to reconnect to that group for a very long time. If you were to go on a date with someone and not go on another date for another year, that relationship is not going to go anywhere. So there's a big opportunity here. Secondly, the biggest offering that an artist has, the pinnacle experience, is the performance. But it is a window into a very wide creative process. And as any artist can attest, there are a lot of things, stories, meaning, that drive us. There's a conception of an art piece, there's selecting collaborators, there's going through a rehearsal process, getting ready for the performance, the feelings backstage, the feelings after the show. And the stories inside of this, the passion, the drive, is mostly invisible for audiences. These stories are not routinely shared in significant ways with audiences who may be hungry to feel a little bit more close or connected to that moment they had in the theater. In this social media and mobile web-driven world, where we can extend our experiences and bring the world with us in our pocket, there is the opportunity for more continuous interactions year-round. And that's what I want to look at. Imagine, if you will, next week, if you were to go online and watch this very piece with your family or your friends from 3 different angles. Or if you were to look at a director's cut of one of our other pieces and actually get to hear the dancers' voices at specific moments about what they were feeling at that moment in the dance. Is that on me still? Okay. And, oh, here we go. Live performance. Or if you could participate in a video chat with me, brainstorming the idea behind the next piece, or while we're watching a rehearsal and actually hear me and the dancers reply to you. Or if I chose to let you vote on the costume design, if I put up multiple costumes and allowed you to vote or even submit your own designs. These are ways to have real interactions throughout the year. And what if it was easier for artists to be able to give audience members more meaningful ways to support and engage them more as co-producers and as bystanders? For instance, to be able to share your skills, to do micro-donations, to be able to share the art with your friends directly associated to these web events that can happen throughout the year, these sorts of experiences. Now, there are lots of artists who are already experimenting in these ways, but systematically this is not yet occurring. The technology is all there, but there's a big barrier to entry for artists who have limited time, technological knowledge, or awareness of which tools to use in which ways. But the opportunity is enormous to give audiences more dynamic ways to engage and tap into these stories, and to help artists have more of a dynamic partnership with their audiences. There are a couple examples I'm going to share with you right now of artists who I think are doing really interesting work in this space. Ben Azriel is an independent choreographer. And he recently, this past year, he videoed all of his rehearsals and had his dancers write blogs. And then they put them online, each of 58 rehearsals. And individual audience members were able to sponsor the rehearsals. So he took an experience which is typically invisible to an audience, and he gave people something that they could support and have a deeper connection with. William Forsythe is another choreographer who has created a really interesting online platform where you could watch his choreographies from multiple angles, and you could also see computer-generated visualizations of the musicality and the kinetics. And audience members could actually play online through this platform with the work and get into it. Now, as a choreographer, I think about this all the time because, first and foremost, I'm focused on creating artistic expression, but it means a lot to me how an audience connects to that, and the different angles and things that they can take from it, and the depth of meaning that comes from familiarity and exploring something from multiple angles. So I've been using my company Misnomer as a laboratory of sorts, experimenting with different online activities. One thing we did this last year was we had our New York season. We streamed the entire performance online, so that the New York theater was sold out, but it was being seen by 2,000 people from 19 countries, including a platoon in Iraq, being projected on the wall in a coffee shop in Brooklyn. And people were able to have a web chat while they were watching the performance. And we even had someone who texted, who chatted in saying, "Could you please move the camera a bit to the left?" So we had a person moderating it. He nudged the cameraman, and they moved it to the left. And you had a little bit more of a direct feedback loop there. Now, systems are being built to help make a large systematic shift in the way that this occurs. One of the things my company Misnomer has been undertaking right now is that we're developing an audience engagement platform for the arts. And this is a software platform, a web-based platform, to help artists to lower the barrier to being able to create web experiences more easily, tailored for artists, so that they can engage their audiences more dynamically throughout the year, and to give their audiences more of a way to participate as active partners throughout that process. And there are other platforms which are emerging too to look at different aspects of this. But it is coming. Artists have tremendous stories to tell, and there's opportunities for you to be more of a participant in those experiences with them. So to conclude, I would like you to think for a moment of the things which are most important to you. And these are usually proportionally related to how much time and energy you invest in them. And if you have a moment of inspiration with a dance or a theater piece or a music piece, if you could just think of one performance that you've seen that blew you away, that totally took you over, and how wonderful it would be to spend just a couple more moments with those characters, to get to know them a little bit more, to be able to feel as if you were part of making that possible, or part of making that artist's next vision possible, and to be on that ride with them. Because we are at a time where it's up to us to re-envision, to broaden and re-envision what it means to be an audience member, and to transfer it from an audience member to an audience participant. Thank you.